With Kyle Manzardo on the move, will we see him get called up? Will Walker Buehler contribute to your fantasy baseball team this year? Join us today where we provide you with the best mustache candidates from the weekend on today's action-packed episode of Locked On Fantasy Baseball.
You are Locked On Fantasy Baseball, your daily fantasy baseball podcast. Part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
Hello, fantasy baseball fanatics, and welcome to the Locked On Fantasy Baseball podcast, brought to you by the Locked On Sports Network, your team every day. As always, we're your number one source of fantasy baseball knowledge, and thank you for making us your first listen each and every day. I'm your host, Dominic Martino. You can find me on Twitter at DomMartinoFB. Here, as always, with my brother, my co-host, my partner in crime, Matthew Ane, and you could find him on Twitter at Matthew_Ane. If you're listening on a platform like Apple or Spotify that allows 5-star ratings and reviews, we would truly appreciate it if you could do that for us. Also, if you're watching on YouTube and you haven't already, hit that little bell below. It subscribes you to the channel, also gives you a notification every time we drop a new episode. And lastly, but most importantly, subscribe to us on the Subtext website. Subtext is a one-on-one personalized in-depth texting experience where we provide you with instant alerts with call-ups, trades, all that good stuff that you need going into this final home stretch here in the fantasy baseball season. And it's just so much more in depth than we can offer in this 30-minute episode. And guys, real quick, I got to talk to you about one of our sponsors. This sponsor of today's episode is the Gametime app. Download Gametime, create an account, and use the code LOCKEDONMLB for $20 off your first purchase. Last minute tickets, lowest price, always guaranteed. And Locked On Fantasy Baseball fans, we have a fully loaded episode for you today. As always, let us be your team secret weapon, where we provide you with the best stashes for Week 17. Guys, we got a few good ones, a few prospects, a little tease for tomorrow's trade deadline episode. But Matt, my brother, who do we got up first?
Yes, sir. So we got a bunch of guys coming up that are going to legitimately, you're going to need to keep your eye out for, because if there's movement or if the spot frees up or if they acquire somebody that is young, they might just give him the call up. And this first person has a lot of possibilities, and that's Mr. Kyle Manzardo. He was just moved to the Guardians. I'm sorry. It's one of those days for Aaron Savale from the Tampa Bay Rays. Manzardo has not really had a great year, quote unquote, for what he has been known for. Like Manzardo coming into this year, I had high hopes for, but unfortunately, just hasn't been able to live up to it with 265 at-bats, 33 runs, 19 doubles, 1 triple, 11 bombs, 38 ribs, stolen base, batted about 238, which is absolutely putrid. Whereas last year, he hit like a nice 327. He had 22 bombs, 26 doubles, which was really nice. Really put together a really nice season between single A and double A. Has been struggling in triple A, but who knows? Maybe they have him working on something, and maybe he gets the Guardians and they just say, let's stop being the Tampa Bay Rays and overthink everything and just go back to doing what you're good at. So there's a chance that you might see him quite quickly, especially if he just decides to, start lighting up their minor league team and he thrusts his way on, which may only take a week or two because he is a giant acquisition for the Guardians. And I could quite honestly see them wanting to put fans in the stand with the new exciting name that they just traded away, one of their not mediocre. I love him. But in terms of what that rotation looks like, he's maybe like the third best pitcher on there when Shane Bieber is healthy. So Kyle Manzardo is somebody that, they're going to be like, boom, let's showcase and go.
Yeah, Matt, great take there on Manzardo. I think there's room. There's a little bit of room here in the Guardians lineup, and just why not at this point with Cleveland? Why not just, call him up, see what he's got out there? I know Matt talked about the down year this year, but last year, monster year for the kid. Yeah, Matt, did you read off those stats? I'm sorry. Yeah, so Matt read you off those, great stats from last year. I love the power. Power is legit with Manzardo, big baseball boy, 6 foot, 205. He's got upside. He's got upside right now. I think it's kind of just a wait and see. If you're in a deeper league, though, maybe one of those 14 mans, even, a lot of guys get a little deeper than that. I think maybe you kind of just, you could throw him on the end of your bench and, hope for the call up. But otherwise, if you're anything shallower than that, I think just kind of hold on and, see what the Guardians decide to do here as far as Manzardo goes. But I don't think they're going to give up what they gave up, in Savale if they kind of just wanted to sit around on Manzardo and kind of just, see where the kid goes. But, let's move on here. Let's talk about, those Tampa Bay Rays again, and let's talk about Jonathan Aranda. Jonathan Aranda is actually somebody that's been, very, very good this year. Another big boy at 6'2", 210. Let me read you off some of those stats here for Aranda because he's, like I said, he's been kind of very, very solid so far this year. So far, Aranda has played 83 games in the minors, 311 at-bats, 69 runs, 21 doubles, 19 homers, 72 RBIs, 2 steals, and a 344 batting average for the kid. I like to see those numbers. And you know what? He did play a few games here in the bigs already. But you know what? I think, Tampa has every reason to, call him back up as they're making this push here. They kind of do have some room in that lineup a little bit. I could see, maybe moving Brandon Lowe over to DH, and then let Aranda play second because, with Lowe, you just don't want him to get banged up, and he's absolutely always hurt. So there's definitely room for him there. As I said, I like Aranda. He's a pretty good young player. He's got a little bit of power, not too much speed, but the batting average is, pretty legit because last year, he hit 318. Year before that, he had 333. So, what? This kid is pretty legit. I would love to see what he can do in that Tampa Bay lineup if he does get the call. Keep your eye on Jonathan Aranda.
Yeah, for sure. I like Aranda a lot. He, let's see what he could do, but great takedown. Let's move on. Let's talk about Mr. Brayan Rocchio. I said that right.
On point.
Yes, thank you, baseball reference. He had a quick cup of coffee, didn't really hit. He was batting about 214 through like 14 at bats, got 3 hits in total. So he didn't look so hot. They sent him back down. But since then, honestly, he's having like a pretty good year. 352 at bats, 64 runs, 25 doubles, 5 triples, 3 bombs, which that's a little disappointing since the year before he had 18, but it is what it is. 49 ribs, 19 stolen bases, 47 walks to 50 strikeouts. You love to see that. And batting about 290 on the season. So I don't know where the power is, why it got zapped or anything of the sort, but who knows? Quite honestly, it doesn't really seem like he has too much of power, which 510 at bats last year. And he only had 18. So maybe he's like a 15 to like almost 20 range home run. A home run guy with like a 20 stolen base. It could be like a 20-20 guy with decent batting average and whatnot. Cleveland Guardians. So, we'll see what they do if, they just do decide to get up Manzardo. They do decide to get up Rocchio and, see what they can start drawing in with Ramirez and everybody else there. Maybe Rocchio can pose some serious fantasy value since the Guardians do love to let their guys run. Rocchio could have a lot of stolen base upside. So if he does get the call, you kind of want to at least have your ear on the ground and know who he is. So hence why we're bringing him up.
Yeah, Matt, great take there with Rocchio. I'm going to chime in real quick on him. I'm going to keep it short and sweet to the point. With Rocchio, the Amed Rosario trade opens up a lot of room there. They weren't afraid to call Rocchio up a little bit earlier in the year, as Matt mentioned. I think the speed is even maybe a little better than Matt talked about. The kid's super fast. I think, 19 steals in 88 games. He gets a full year next year. You could see a guy 35-plus steals. Batting average, kind of up and down through his minor league career, kind of, guessing game. I think maybe he'll wind up being like a career like 275-ish kind of guy. If he winds up hitting, like 9th in that lineup, maybe he'll be good at runs as well. So that gives him about 3 categories that he could be contributing into your fantasy baseball team. But like I said, once again, Matt, good take. Rocchio is 1% owned, second in shortstop, eligible on Yahoo. He's a guy that I think definitely gets the call back up again. But before we move on to, Nationals prospect, got a little Nationals gear on. We got another Orioles prospect, of course. Why would we not be talking about an Orioles prospect in this episode? And then a potential ace for the Los Angeles Dodgers and your fantasy team. Find out after this quick little break. So, guys, have you ever tried to buy tickets to see your favorite artist or sports team and wound up being stressed out by how much of a hassle it can be? buying tickets to your favorite events shouldn't be stressful. That's why you need to check out the Gametime app. Gametime is the fast and easy way to buy tickets for all the sports, music, comedy, and theater near you. With killer deals on last-minute tickets and their best price guarantee, you can stop stressing over the tickets and start getting hyped for the fun you'll have. Using the Gametime app is super rewarding with flash deals on last-minute tickets, easy to find and buy tickets for every kind of event in your area, images and views from the seats you'll be sitting in, lowest price guarantee, and event cancellation protection. I mean, there's a reason why it's the fastest growing ticketing app in the country. Download the Gametime app, create an account, and use the code LOCKEDONMLB for $20 off your first purchase. Terms do apply. Again, create an account and redeem the code LOCKEDONMLB for $20 off. Download Gametime today. Last minute tickets and the lowest prices always guaranteed. And dear everydayers and new listeners, we have an incredible opportunity for you to support the show and enjoy some fantastic perks along the way. Introducing the Diamond Club on the Subtext website. By becoming a member, you not only contribute to the show's success, but also gain access to exclusive benefits. You'll get your hands on waiver wire rankings, call-up alerts, injury updates, and instant reactions. And one of the best parts is that you'll enjoy direct access to us for all of your burning fantasy baseball questions. And with the end of the season, very, very close, you need to make that playoff push or just stay at the top of your rankings like Matt and I do. You need to get on the Diamond Club, guys. It's a really, really, really great opportunity here. Plus, you can try it out completely free for 14 days. Your support means the world to Matt and I, and we can't wait to connect with you on this exciting journey. Join the Diamond Club on Subtext today and let us take your fantasy baseball experience to new heights. All right, guys, let's hop back in. And Matt, I think this is one of your boys, so you might as well hop in and take the lead on this guy.
Thank you, sir. You also forgot again the listener.
Oh, wait, man. I got it. So, guys, I did forget, but Matt reminded me. So let me chime in here. And one of the big things, if you join the Diamond Club on the Subtext website, is that you get, a chance to win an exclusive spot to our listener league next year. If you join up, I think we called it the August 1st, Matt. August 1st is the cutoff date. So if you sign up by August 1st or you're already in the Diamond Club on Subtext, you'll get that chance. We're going to do like a random draw to see, who gets that elusive spot in the listener league for next year. But, Matt, chime on in and wrap this up and then get into James Wood.
I agreed with you, but it's not August 1st, September 1st.
Oh, we're going September 1st. Okay, gotcha.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, cool.
August 1st would be today.
Oh, yeah, you're right. I wasn't sure if we were going August 1st or September 1st.
Yes. So, but yes. All right, we're good. Good job, Dom.
I tried.
Way to recover at the end. All right, let's talk about Mr. Big Boy, Big Body, Mr. Washington National top prospect and top prospect overall, Mr. James Wood. My guy is an absolute monster. I think he's like a top 5 prospect right now. It's 6'6", 240 pounds, 20 years old. Will be 21 on September 17th. So, just in that prime time age here. My guy has had a rough season in the minors. I don't know if he's going to get a cup of coffee this year. I think he's somebody you just keep an eye out on if you're not aware who he is. If you're somebody that just doesn't follow prospects closely, he could be somebody if he gets the call up in September, which is still, a possibility. If he does decide to turn it around, he got the promotion to Double-A this year. After he just destroyed the ball in an A+, where he had 150 at bats. I hate you, Baseball Reference. 32 runs, nine doubles, 5 triples, 8 bombs, 36 ribs, 8 stolen bases, batting .293. When he got up to Double-A, he didn't have bad counting stat numbers. Like he has another 8 bombs, he has 27 ribs, he had 11 doubles and 2 triples, right? Like that, all those counting stats are phenomenal. But he's batting .225 right now. So, ultimately, there is a chance for him to adjust and just go off. Like there's still a good month where if he goes on a tear and the way Nationals are selling out, there's a good chance James Wood will just get the cup of coffee at 20 years old, maybe even get the birthday present on his 21st birthday. Here, buy yourself your beer and, also hit a home run for us, please. James Wood has a lot of upside. I think the kid has, obviously big body man is going to have big body power. With 16 home runs already on the season. I think, quite honestly, this kid's upside in a full season, and maybe after, I don't know if he's going to be like an instant translate this year, but next year, if he does get the full year, he may be somebody that we're talking about that's getting close to 30 home runs and get you, 15 to 20 stolen bases on the year, because he did do that in 2022 with 20 stolen bases. And say bat anywhere from 270 to 300. It's a wide range of outcomes, because in 2022 he did hit for 313. So James Wood has a lot of upside and a lot of wide range of outcomes. So I do like James Wood a lot, and he could be very volatile in where he's going to be going into next season for Dynasty and just for redrafts and everything for next year.
Yeah, man, great take on James Wood there. I think the Nationals, another team that can make the room, as Matt was talking about. I think Joey Meneses, Dom Smith, Corey Dickerson could all be guys, and even Lane Thomas. I think Lane Thomas is still only 28 years old, or about to be 28 years old. So I could see maybe they hold off on Lane Thomas, especially having such a good year. But the other three guys could either be on the move or just, not there, for much longer. So there could be room for James Wood, and, Robert Hassel's another name to look out for in the Nationals minor league system. But once again, as Matt said, it's 6'6", 240 for big James Wood. He's in that mold of an O'Neal Cruz and Ellie De La Cruz. Who I had one other guy that's escaped me, Jordan Walker. Just big baseball boys that could hit homers and steal bases. And James Wood, he fits that role. As Matt said, the AA stats aren't looking as good, so I don't know if he gets the call this year. They might want to see him adjust to, AA after coming up from, high A. The plate discipline is another thing that's just, in modern day baseball, the thing is guys can strike out a lot and still be successful. But, James Woods went from 42 games in A+, where he had 26 walks to 49 strikeouts, and then he goes up to AA and he's got 22 walks to 61 strikeouts. So you kind of see that disparity there that, is probably some of the reason that he's not having as much success. But you know what, if this kid does get the call, they say, hey, get up there with TJ Abrams, and, maybe they call Hassel up too, and they say, hey, show us what the future looks like. He's definitely somebody that you want to, at least keep your eye on. So let's move on to our last guy here, our last prospect that is. And somebody we talked about before, Heston Kjerstad, just a guy who's been absolutely just killing it. And I think he's the next one to come up and join the rest of the Baltimore Oriole prospects already up there. And I've talked about him before. If you haven't already heard about Kjerstad, he's hitting 324 in the minors, 85 games, 63 runs, 24 doubles, 5 triples, 18 homers, 43 RBIs, 4 steals. And he's hit over 300 every single year in the minors that he's been there. So I think this kid comes up and makes a huge impact. I think it's more of a cup of coffee type of guy. I don't know if we see him until the end of August, beginning of September, but when he does get that call, he's a guy that could come up and instantly translate and help your fantasy team when you need it most in the playoffs. So keep an eye out for Heston Kjerstad.
Sorry, I didn't put the name up there, guys. That's how you spell it. But, yeah, great take, Dom. I don't even think I need to add anything on it. Let's talk about another name on the sideboard here if nobody's seen. Will Walker Buehler actually return this year? And the question is, the answers to the question, I believe, is yes. I think he gets a Verlander-esque return where he gets the last 2-3 weeks of the season where he comes in and just makes his splash. I think Walker Buehler is going to be primed for, if you're in a keeper league, or even in a dynasty league that you just started up this year, if he's sitting out there, you might want to go and scoop him up if he hasn't been scooped up. He's 19% owned. And quite honestly, if Walker Buehler was healthy, he probably would have been a top 1 or 2 pitcher for me overall. I love Walker Buehler. Quite honestly, this kid has all the talent in the world. Excuse last year because he did get hurt and he was dealing with, I guess, everything leading up to having to go get TJ. So 2021, though, the kid had a monster year. 207 at bat, innings pitched, 212 strikeouts, a 2.47 ERA, a sub-1 WHIP, and what was the win total here? 16 wins. My guy just went out there and said, "Yo, I am one of the best pitchers in the league, hands down. I'm young. I'm freaking 26 years old. So this year he'll be 28, and." There's still a lot of gas in that tank still, and Walker Buehler may come back and be an instant fantasy threat to everybody who's going up against him. So to get that push in all the pitching categories, Walker Buehler may be somebody going in the playoffs you want to have on your team. And before I hand it back over to Dom, and we tell you about pretty much all pitchers that you need to stash going into the playoffs and going into the rest of the season before they come back. We got a break for you right here. All right, Dom, go for it.
Yeah, great take on Buehler. Great take. We're kind of in sync tonight here. And the thing is, the Dodgers need him to come back. Their pitching has been really, really bad so far this year. Julio Urias has been kind of, not the normal Urias we're used to. Tony Gonsolin, again, another guy that, dealt with some injuries at the beginning of the season and has yet to come back to form. Bobby Miller came back down to earth. Emmett Sheehan hasn't been as good as advertised. Michael Grove. And then, they did just acquire a 36-year-old Lance Lynn. I don't know how well that's going to work out for them because out of every single qualified pitcher in baseball, Lance Lynn has the highest ERA. So it's been putrid. If they can get Walker Buehler even back for 2 or 3 games, Matt, you comp him to Verlander. My even more recent comp is Tyler Glasnow. Tyler Glasnow came back last year. I think had about 2 or 3, starts, and he was great. I know he helped me in the fantasy baseball playoffs. He got me an everyday championship last year, and Walker Buehler could have the same impact this year. There was already video of him throwing off a mound, so you love to see that. He posted it to his Instagram, I believe. And they're saying there's definitely a strong possibility that Buehler comes back by September 1st, which will get him a couple of starts there, maybe 2 or 3, right when you need him. Fantasy playoffs usually start right around the beginning of September, go to like the middle of end of September. So you know what, man, Walker Buehler can contribute. And then even that, the Dodgers want to get him ready for the playoffs. So I see every chance that Walker Buehler does come back and contributes this year. So at 19% owned, must stash on your IL. But let's move on to another guy that, I know Matt specifically had big hopes for this year. I was kind of on the fence about him. It's Kyle Wright, but you know what? I can't say it's because of the talent this year. It's just been injuries, man. He's really, really, really been banged up. So I see right here from a couple of days ago that he began mound work. Once again, Kyle Wright, that shoulder issue. It's the first time he's thrown off a mound since early May. Another guy where, we talked about Buehler come back September. So that's what they're looking for Kyle Wright as well. So if you can't stash Walker Buehler, I think Kyle Wright is right behind him. No pun intended with that one. But you know what? The kid won 20 games last year. He was very, very good. There's a lot of upside. So you know what? Just throw him on your IL right now if you have the room for him and kind of just see where this thing goes because Wright does have a lot of upside.
Yeah, I mean, right now, also not a pun, but honestly, how I feel about Wright is this. Essentially, I want to see him start throwing simulated games. I want to see not just here he's throwing off the mound before I stash him. And the reason being is he could have a setback. He already had a setback. He also came back too early, I feel, from the injury. They should have just let him go another couple of weeks and, really just worked his shoulder before just rolling him back out there. I understand they needed him and they were dealing with injuries with, Fried and everything. So I get it from, a baseball perspective and whatnot and a team management. But, let's just hope they don't rush him back again because I'd be really disappointed to see him get hurt for a 3rd time this year. Because I don't think he's a flanges guy. I just think that he was a mismanaged player. So Kyle Wright, I think if he comes back healthy and, we're not hearing anything negative at all, he will be a strong stash. But let's move on. Let's talk about Mr. Nick Lodolo. Somebody Dom was low on, somebody I was high on. I was completely wrong about him this year. He was injured with a calf injury, but I mean, quite honestly, the calf injury doesn't speak to a 6.29 ERA. Like, that's just absolutely atrocious. What a 1.748 whip. Like, come on, dude. Like, what are you doing? Rookie of the year last year. It's fugly, right? He got rookie of the year. No, he was a rookie of the year candidate. Harris. Right, I apologize. Rookie of the year candidate. He was top 6. I read that wrong. So last year he had a really good year, but I mean, here's the thing: he had a 3.66 ERA with a FIP of 3.90. Right, like that's not great, but he does pitch at Great American Hitter Park quite often, and half his starts. And I really just don't like the fact that that's there. I think that's why his FIP is so inflated. But the funny part is, though, if you look at his splits, he actually pitched better at home, which is a scary thing. So Nick Lodolo has no explanation for. I have no explanation for why Nick Lodolo was so bad this year. But what I'm hoping is now that he's free 99, not being drafted. You're not drafting him now. You don't have to pay a top 50 price. Nick Lodolo, you could probably scoop off the waivers. He's, I think, 54% owned, if I'm not mistaken. 46% owned. You throw him on your IL for now, see what happens. And if he starts coming back and starts sounding real strong, man, I'd just be excited to give a little speculative stash and see what he does after his first 2 starts. And then he kills it. I mean, I'm starting him, and we just see where it goes, because high upside for strikeouts, high upside for just about anything with him, especially with the way the Reds are just in general with the state of that team, winning games and things like that. So Nick Lodolo has a lot of upside moving forward.
Yeah, Matt. I mean, I like a lot of what you said, and I like Nick Lodolo too. Don't get me wrong. I was a little bit lower on him than most this year, but I still thought he was going to be a lot better than he's shown so far this year. Maybe the injury was bothering him this whole time, all year, and they, finally gave out, and that was that. But I will preface it both ways, Matt. What you did say is last year he pitched better in, at Great American Small Park, Great American Hitter Park, whatever we're calling it over here at Locked On. He just wasn't very good at home, so that made me think it's like, okay, if he was really good at home and he was really bad on the road, what if he's bad at home again? What if he what if it comes back and
it's the other way around?
Yeah, no, he was really good at home last year. That's what I'm saying. He was really good at home and really bad away. So my whole thought process coming into the year is like, what if he's bad at home too? What if this year he came out and he was bad at home? Kind of showed that's what it looked like. That's what it looks like if he is bad at home and bad away. The 6.29 ERA, because Great American Small Park is not easy to pitch in, and if you're giving up that power and home runs, it's just going to be tough. But Nick Lodolo has big strikeout upside. The Reds are better. He has winning some game upside. As far as the WHIP and ERA, mid to high 3 ERA and like a plus 1.20 WHIP, is kind of what you'd really be looking at my opinion. But you know what? If you can't stash Buehler or Wright, go out there and grab Lodolo and see where it goes. Let's keep things pushing here, and let's move on to a closer. Let's talk about Liam Hendriks. He missed a lot of the season, with cancer, and then he got banged up again. Still wishing Liam Hendriks the best, and hopefully he can get back out on the mound this year. The White Sox have basically thrown in the towel. Kendall Graveman's gone. All roads lead back to Liam Hendriks being the closer if he can get back out there. The last 4 years besides this year, he was a monster closer. 37 saves in 2022, 38 saves in 2021. He was an all-star 3 out of the last 4 years. If Hendriks is out there on your waiver wire and you missed out on all the trade closers and stuff like that, you can give him a shot. No guarantees here. He's 56% owned on Yahoo. If you want to stash him. He's got high upside for Liam Hendriks.
Yeah, absolutely. I love Liam Hendriks. Really glad he got through the non-Hodgkin's lymphoma. When I heard the diagnosis, I was actually pretty encouraged, because it's one of the easier ones you can get through. No, of course, nobody wants cancer, but if you're going to get it, it's a diagnosis that you actually can feel confident that you can beat. But congrats, Liam Hendriks. Let's get this last guy in, and I want to circle back to the White Sox real quick, because I saw a wild trade rumor. Let's talk about Wade Miley real fast. Wade Miley was dealing with an elbow injury. They put him on a 15-day IL. Wade Miley was having a pretty good season, pretty much has a 3.06 ERA with 46 Ks through 67 innings pitched with a 1.15 WHIP. Solid numbers. Wade Miley has just been solid over his career. So quite honestly, how I'm treating it is, I'm not really stashing him. He's not a guy I'm really excited to have on my IL and holding out, but I am being aware of when he gets the call back up, because then I'm willing to roll him out on almost any matchup so far this year.
Yeah, I really like Wade Miley. If you look at the last 3 years for Miley, he has had 49 starts, 20 wins, 11 losses, 3.26 ERA, 267 innings, 199 strikeouts, and a 1.26 whip. So the whip hasn't been stellar, but you know what? Under a K per 9, a win-loss record looks very, very good. The ERA is a low 3 ERA. So with Wade Miley being 33% owned, definitely somebody you could stash and see where things go. I would throw my IL if you I'd take him over Lodolo, but not over Buehler and Wright. So that's where I am on Wade Miley. But Matt, chime on in. I know you had something you wanted to say about the White Sox before we head out.
I saw the craziest trade rumor that they might move Roberts.
Oof. I heard that they were trying to keep him and Eloy Put, but what'd you hear?
I heard that they're officially selling everything and they're willing to move everybody, including him. So that is going to be absolutely bananas if he gets sent to a contender.
Yeah, that'd be interesting. How old is Luis Robert again?
I think he's 25, 26, so it's going to be a haul.
He's 25.
Yeah.
And he's having a pretty solid year, too.
He's having an insane year. I called this, man.
30 homers already, 70 runs, 60 RBIs, 12 steals, 269 batting average. Looks good.
Yeah,
looks good for the kid.
Yeah, absolutely. When I said, that was my bold prediction on the year, guys, that Luis Roberts was going to have a monster year. I couldn't have even said it better with it. I just would have liked a little bit better batting average. But we'll get there, Roberts. Beggars can't be choosers. But he gets moved to a contender. These stats can be just bonkers. So just keep out for Luis Roberts. You're not going to be able to go out and acquire him unless you're willing to give away the whole farm. But, hey, it's going to be exciting.
Yeah, and if you guys watched our mock drafts at all coming into the year, we took Luis Robert a bunch of times. So, you know what, kudos to you if you were watching and you listened, and, you got him on your team right now. But, guys, that is all for today. Please be sure to like, subscribe, comment, rate, and review. Also, thank you for making Locked On Fantasy Baseball your first listen each and every day. And make sure you're on a lookout for tomorrow's episode. It's going to be a trade deadline extravaganza special. We're going to be talking about all the trades. The trade deadline is tomorrow at 6 p.m. We usually record at around 8:30, depending on the time. So we'll have all the trades and everything for you. We'll talk about Savale. We'll talk about everyone else. Maybe Luis Robert gets moved. Maybe Juan Soto gets moved. But, guys, until tomorrow, see you.
Peace.